Have you ever considered that the things that don't kill you might actually be making you stronger? I'm not talking about some cheesy motivational poster slogan. I'm talking about a deep structural property of certain systems, ideas, and even people. It's a concept that goes beyond simply being tough or resilient. It's about thriving on shocks, benefiting from disorder, and getting better when exposed to chaos. This is the groundbreaking idea at the heart of Nassim Nicholas Taleb's book, Antifragile, Things That Gain from Disorder. We live in a world that craves predictability. We want everything to be smooth, stable, and safe. Yet, Taleb argues that this obsession with order is exactly what makes us and our systems so fragile. He introduces a new word into our vocabulary, anti-fragile. It's the opposite of fragile. A fragile teacup breaks when it's mishandled. A robust package survives unharmed. But an anti-fragile package? That's the one you'd stamp with "please mishandle" because its contents get better with a little turbulence. This isn't just an abstract idea. Anti-fragility is found everywhere, from our own biological systems to the evolution of technology and the success of market economies. Understanding it can fundamentally change the way you see risk, make decisions, and live your life. The unseen world of fragility and anti-fragility. To truly grasp anti-fragility, you first have to understand its opposite. Imagine a porcelain teacup. It's beautiful, but one small drop and it shatters. That's fragility. Now think of a solid wooden block. You can drop it, kick it, or even hit it with a hammer, and it remains largely unchanged. That's robustness. But what about a biological system like your body? When you lift weights, you create micro tears in your muscle fibers. This is a form of stress and damage. Yet your body doesn't just repair itself back to its original state, it overcompensates by building the muscle back stronger than before. That's anti-fragility in action. This distinction is crucial because so much of our modern world is built on the false promise of a robust, stable system. Taleb calls this the Procrustean bed of modernity. In Greek myth, Procrustes was a figure who would stretch or chop off the limbs of his guests to make them fit perfectly into his bed. This is a perfect metaphor for how we try to force complex living systems, like our bodies or our economies, into neat, simplified models. We try to eliminate all stressors, errors, and volatility, thinking we are making things safer, but we are actually weakening them. Take your immune system, for example. In the past, children were exposed to dirt, germs, and a wide variety of microorganisms. This exposure was a series of small, natural stressors that taught their immune systems how to respond. Today, in our hyper-sanitized world, we've removed many of these stressors, leading to a rise in allergies and autoimmune disorders. Our bodies, deprived of the very things they need to get stronger, become fragile. The wisdom of the amateurs, rejecting the Soviet Harvard delusion. One of the most powerful and controversial arguments in the book is the lecturing birds on how to fly effect. Imagine a team of highly credentialed ornithologists from a prestigious university spending years studying the aerodynamics of birds. They publish their findings and then proudly declare, "We have taught the birds how to fly." This seems absurd, of course, because we know birds flew long before anyone tried to formalize the science behind it. Taleb argues that we fall for the same delusion in nearly every field. We believe that progress flows in a straight line from academia to practice. Academia comes up with a brilliant idea, which then leads to new technology, which finally benefits society. This is what Taleb calls the linear model, or the Soviet Harvard delusion. But real-world innovation rarely works this way. Instead, it's often a messy, bottom-up process of anti-fragile tinkering and trial and error. Think of the most profound inventions that have changed our lives. The wheel was invented thousands of years ago, but it took millennia for someone to think of putting small wheels on a suitcase. The steam engine was known to the ancient Greeks as a toy, yet it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that its practical application was discovered. These breakthroughs didn't come from a top-down, formalized research program. They came from hands-on practitioners, the tinkerers, engineers, and entrepreneurs who were willing to make small, harmless mistakes on their way to a big discovery. This is the essence of the green lumber fallacy. In this story, a highly successful trader of green lumber, which is freshly cut lumber, believed it was simply lumber painted green. His lack of formal, academic knowledge about lumber's properties didn't hurt him because his success came from a different kind of knowledge, an intuitive, non-narrated understanding of market dynamics. His success wasn't about being right in an academic sense. It was about the payoff of his actions. Navigating uncertainty, the barbell strategy. How do we apply this to our own lives, especially when faced with an unpredictable world? Taleb's answer is the barbell strategy. A traditional barbell has heavy weights at both ends and nothing in the middle. The strategy works the same way. You put a large portion of your life or resources into extremely safe, low-risk ventures and a very small portion into highly speculative, high-risk ones. The key is to avoid the golden middle, the moderate, medium-risk options that seem safe but are often susceptible to hidden, large-scale threats. For a writer, this might mean working a secure, low-stress job, a sinecure, during the day and spending their free time on a passion project at night. If the passion project fails, their stable life remains intact. But if it succeeds, the payoff can be enormous. For an investor, the strategy is putting 90% of your funds in a super safe asset like government-insured cash and the remaining 10% in extremely speculative investments. In this scenario, the most you can ever lose is that 10%, but your potential for gain is virtually unlimited. The barbell strategy is fundamentally anti-fragile because it creates a favorable asymmetry, limited downside and unlimited upside. This is a non-predictive approach. You don't need to know what the future holds. You just need to structure your life in a way that allows you to benefit from randomness when it occurs without being destroyed when it goes wrong.
The danger of experts, naive intervention, and iatrogenics. Our modern obsession with prediction and control has given rise to a dangerous class of experts, whom Taleb calls fragilistas. These are people, academics, consultants, politicians, who, with the best of intentions, create fragility by intervening in complex systems they don't fully understand. This leads to a phenomenon called iatrogenics, harm caused by the healer. The term originates in medicine, where treatments can sometimes do more harm than good. Taleb extends this to society at large. He cites the example of a 1930s study where a group of children was presented to doctors for tonsillectomies. Many were deemed to need the surgery. When the remaining children were presented to another group of doctors, a new round of tonsillectomies was recommended. This shows a powerful human bias, the urge to do something, and the belief that our interventions are always beneficial. In health, this has led to a reliance on drugs and procedures that may have short-term, visible benefits, but carry long-term, hidden risks. In politics and economics, it's the belief that a central government can smooth out the boom-bust cycle, leading to long periods of artificial stability followed by massive, catastrophic collapses. The solution, Taleb argues, is a via negativa approach. Instead of constantly adding interventions, we should first focus on subtracting what is harmful and unnatural. Remove the obstacles and let the natural anti-fragile system take its course. The moral compass, skin in the game. What is the ultimate check against the fragilistas and their harmful interventions? According to Taleb, it's the ethical principle of skin in the game. This means that a person should be exposed to the consequences of their actions, both good and bad. If you're going to give an opinion, make a prediction, or build a system, you should have something to lose if you're wrong. Taleb provides the chilling example of the ancient code of Hammurabi. If a builder constructed a house that later collapsed and killed the owner, the builder would be put to death. The logic is simple yet brilliant. It perfectly aligns the builder's incentives with the homeowner's safety by ensuring he bears the ultimate downside of his work. Today, this principle is largely absent. We have a new class of inverse heroes, bankers, bureaucrats, and politicians who get the upside from risky ventures but are insulated from the downside. Taleb dubs this the Robert Rubin free option. Rubin, a former Treasury Secretary, earned millions from a bank that later collapsed, requiring a taxpayer bailout. He kept his bonuses, and the public paid for his mistakes. This transfer of fragility, where one person's anti-fragility comes at the cost of another's fragility, is, in Taleb's view, the greatest ethical problem of our time. To fix this, we must demand that those in power have skin in the game. If you propose a war, your family should be on the front lines. If you design a financial model, your own money should be invested in it. This simple rule would transform a society built on talk and theoretical knowledge into one rooted in action, accountability, and practical wisdom. The Philosopher's Stone, detecting fragility. Taleb provides a simple, almost magical tool for detecting fragility. This isn't a mystical object, but a mental model based on the concept of convexity effects. Simply put, a system is fragile if it suffers disproportionately from large single shocks compared to many small ones of equivalent total magnitude. Conversely, it's anti-fragile if it benefits from large shocks. Think of it this way. What's more damaging, getting hit by one 100-pound stone or 100 one-pound pebbles? For a human body, a single 100-pound stone is far more devastating. This is a concave relationship. The damage accelerates as the size of the stressor increases. But for an anti-fragile system, the relationship is convex. For instance, running 1 mile a day for 30 days is not as beneficial as running a marathon every month. Your body's anti-fragile response to extreme stress is non-linear. This idea reveals a profound insight about prediction. It's not about being right or wrong, but about the payoff of being right or wrong. Systems with a convex payoff, where the gains from being right are much larger than the losses from being wrong, are fundamentally anti-fragile and will benefit from randomness. Conclusion: embracing the future by loving the past. The ultimate message of Antifragile is a call to reevaluate our relationship with uncertainty. Taleb suggests that we should stop trying to naively predict and control the future. Instead, we should build systems and lives that are robust to negative shocks and poised to benefit from positive ones. This involves a fundamental shift in perspective, valuing the practical over the theoretical, action over talk, and courage over convenience. He offers a powerful final heuristic for navigating our world called the Lindy effect. It states that the life expectancy of non-perishable items, like ideas, books, or technologies, is proportional to their current age. If a book has been in print for 50 years, it's likely to be in print for another 50. If a technology has been around for 1,000 years, it's likely to be around for another 1,000 years. So the best way to predict what will be relevant in the future is to look at what has already survived the test of time. This is the essence of subtractive prophecy. Ultimately, Taleb's work encourages us to embrace the natural messiness of the world. It's a book that's less about a single answer and more about a set of questions. What is fragile in your life, and how can you make it anti-fragile? By asking these questions, we can become more resilient, more creative, and more prepared for the chaos that inevitably lies ahead.